that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us.
There you go.
Because at the end of the day, we know that in the Western Hemisphere, that predominantly that the 12 tribes, because this is only for the Western Hemisphere in large, but we do know that we're scattered into all places. We know that we can have different phenotypes. We can have damn near different colors. Because you see Jason Kidd here for the longest of times, people thought Jason Kidd was a white guy, but going down in his lineage, he actually descends from African slave people, like on his patrilineage side.
Yeah.
So you can look like any other nation, but it's all about your patriarchy and where you come from.
You know, I'm a
The
fucking,
spirit gonna bear witness.
I'm a fucking dirty white man.
Yeah.
My family owned slaves. My family abused fucking slaves. Makes me want to fucking cry right now on the fucking street.
Hey man, sorry man. You know what I'm saying?
But my other half is the good side. My grandfather is 100% Greek from New York City, and my great grandfather lived to be 100 years old. And I feel like being Greek makes me a little bit less white.
Greeks too.
Hey, you know, but another byword, man.
Yeah, it's nothing but another byword. Like I
What
said,
is?
we can being a Greek.
Being a Greek,
Yeah.
you could still become from like any nation. Greeks went from, well, their lands obviously that was in all basically over northwestern.
Yeah, well, the Minoans.
From all the way over there,
The in the Etruscans.
all the way through what they went from there to Babylon, man. They took Egypt, you know. So
Yeah.
they went past Babylon actually. So yeah,
Cleopatra. Alexander the Great was, you know, with Cleopatra.
But we know Cleopatra wasn't Edomite.
Yeah. But we know we can look like all different phenotypes.
I appreciate that because the last young men that I spoke to in regards to this topic were very dismissive and said, "Oh, you white, you're not allowed here," and it made me feel really
But they were
bad.
out here on the street.
Yeah, no, it was on Venice Beach. That's where my dog is from. In Los Angeles, California.
Oh yeah, he's probably talking to some brothers.
Oh no, it was.
Oh, like people that out here like teaching the truth and stuff.
Yeah, they were very serious. I don't know if they weren't in robes or anything though, so I don't know if they were full brothers as you say.
Hey, what's going on, sister? You believe in Jesus? I can ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did he look like this?
I don't think so.
Does the Bible give a physical description of Christ at all?
I don't know. What they say he hid in Egypt.
He hid in Egypt, right? And before Egypt was invaded by the Arabics, like in the Levantian conquest, they were inhabited by, they would say African people, but we would call them the people of Canaan. The people of Canaan were all dark-skinned people. They were children. And if you notice anything about Israel, it's so special because it's on the Asiatic plateau and the African plateau, which is why they're supposed to be called an Afro-Asiatic people. You know? So I just want to read the description for you. You want me to get that? All right, Revelation chapter 1
and 13.
and verse 13.
This
Because what this picture breeds, it's called iconoclasm. You ever heard of the word iconoclasm? It's basically like pushing propaganda through pictures. Like that was the way that the world was moved back then because we didn't have telecommunications, we didn't have news broadcasting stations. We actually told propaganda through the influence of pictures, right? And this came from the Renaissance period of the 1400s, right? So bring that out in Revelation 1:13.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man,
It's talking about Christ, right?
clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His hairs and his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow.
So right here, if you know anything about like sheep, their wool is not entirely white. It's like grayish and coarsy, right? Like kind of like nappy hair. We got nappy hair in the world today. You know, black people. But when you see Christ, he ain't got nappy hair. He got long straight hair, and it's not white. You know, depicting that oldness in it. You know, because he was a mature man, right? Keep going on that.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
When you ever seen Passion of the Christ or like any of these YouTube shorts, does Christ ever look like very serious? Like he's always looking very soft and somber, right? But in the Bible it says his eyes are as a flame of fire, so he was a very the Bible calls him, literally the disciples called him a very hard man, a very austere man, meaning that he was very serious. They were scared to sometimes ask him questions, right? Because of like, just like off how he looked, right? Keep going.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
So what color is brass? Like a penny, right? And it said his feet. So your feet is usually, typically the same color as your whole body, right? Bring that up.
As if they burned in a furnace.
So his feet was so black, it looked like as if they burned in a furnace. So he was a very dark-skinned guy. Right? Keep going on that.
And his voice as the sound of many waters.
If you're going to talk to a multitude of 5,000 people, of course your voice is going to have to be very loud to enunciate the words that you're saying, right? Because he fed multitudes. So his voice would have to be very loud. But when we watch Passion of the Christ in these YouTube shorts, he's not talking very loud. He's not an austere guy. He's a very soft and broken guy. Right? So the Bible calls him a black, dark-skinned man with a very loud voice who looks very serious. You know, but we don't see this depiction. We see this depiction in church. So if they lied about his image, wouldn't they also lie about the message that he was also came here to teach? Wouldn't they lie also about his teaching as well? Like, don't you, isn't that like kind of, we can also call that into question as well?
How so?
Right, so I got a question for you, right? Get Matthew 15 and 24. So would you say Christ came for everybody on the planet? So would you call everybody a child of God? Because God made them? Would you say that? So you're a Christian? What are you? What denomination? Okay. So as Christians, right? Because we want to say we're true Christians, right? Because the Jews were called Christians first in Antioch. So we want to have a Christ theological position with everything that we talk about, right? Because we can go to Pauline epistles, we can go to the epistles of Peter, we can go to the epistle of James, we can even go through the Acts, but we want to come from a Christ theological position first because he was the head of everything. He's the head of man, right? So get that in Matthew 15:24.
Do you want me to get the whole thing?
Yeah, get
21?
Yeah, 21. Yeah.
Okay.
Yup. That's perfect.
This is the book of Matthew, reading from chapter 15, verse 21.
And also know this too. Matthew is an eyewitness in the Synoptic Gospels, Tim and John. But Matthew in particular was actually a disciple of Christ that walked with him. So he's hearing this verbatim out of his mouth, right?
You want me to read it as it is written?
As it is written, yeah.
Then Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David.
So right here, let's put a note in this, right? She acknowledged him as the son of David. So that's having belief in Christ, right? That's the first thing. Keep going.
My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. But
Pause right there. So Christ totally ignored this woman after she was crying after him, and she kept doing it so much to the point where his disciples that were around him were like, "Hey man, send this woman away. She's literally bothering us in the way of our ministry as we're trying to teach." You know what I'm saying? So keep going. What did Christ say?
But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So right here, Christ is literally out of his mouth saying, I came not for this Syrophoenician woman. We're talking in the secular world, right? For this Canaanite woman. He came only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is out of his own mouth. And he said, this is red letter. It's not in his Bible red letter, but when you read this in other Bibles, it's red letter. So these are the words of Christ saying, right? So right here we have a believer, a woman crying out to him saying, you know, she believed he was the son of David, but he ignored her and said, I came not only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So how do you feel about that text right there? It's like St. Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. Because you would say, and I'm gonna just jump from a road, from a Christian theological, or from a Christian's point of view, right? Because they'll be like, well, he said, go send disciples into all nations, make disciples out of all nations, preaching the things that I taught you. But if we're preaching the things that Christ taught us, right here, he's saying, tell people that I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
We got a little more on that.
Yeah, come on, bring it up.
Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me.
That's right.
But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread.
Because he's the bread of life, right? As we read in John, he's the bread of life. So taking him and giving it to who?
And to cast it to dogs.
So he's not going to take the children's bread, who are the children of Israel in this case, and cast it to the dogs, which, to be honest, is the other nation. That's just what the Bible says throughout its total fluidity of the whole Bible. Like Israelites look at the other nations, the Goyim, as some people would say, a Gentile, as dogs. That's just the way it is. And this is what Christ is literally saying out of his mouth. Keep going on that.
And she said, Truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from the master's table.
So she's acknowledging herself as a dog. As a dog is not the same as a human, last time I checked. And also I'll also check that the crumbs that she's about going to receive, that he's talking about, a crumb is not the same thing as a loaf. If we read the same account in Mark, it literally says that the children should eat first, and then the other nations shall eat what's left over. So this is literally racial stratification when we're talking about Christ's theological aspect. In Matthew 11 and 10. Because we're going to believe the Great Commission where it says, make disciples out of all nations. We have to and teach them all things that I taught you. We're going to read all of the things, all of the points that Christ was teaching his disciples, right? Bring it up.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 11, verse 10. For this is he of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee.
Is this
thinking
the Gentile, 9 Gentile?
That's 10.
Oh, 10. Salaki.
Yep.
Yeah, bring it up.
I got it.
About 9 to the way of the It's like Matthew.
I'm gonna skip around a little bit.
Go on.
I'm gonna skip over the
Oh,
names.
it's 5, yeah. Yep, bring it up.
This
I
is
don't
the
have much time. I have to go.
All right, well, this is the last one.
This is the book of Matthew, reading from chapter 10, reading from verse 1. And when he called, it's like when he had called on, okay, start 5. Okay. These 12, these 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritan enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So Christ is very much pushing the envelope on going to the Israelites, going to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? I come from for my sheep shall hear my voice, right? Throughout the whole fluidity of the Bible, we see that Israelites only being referred to as the sheep. We don't see other nations being referred to as the sheep at all throughout the whole text, throughout the whole fluidity of the Bible. Like you can literally go to blueletter.com and type in sheep in the search engine, and every time you see sheep, where it refers to other nations is when we're as a young lion literally destroying and eating the sheep, when he's talking about us being put back on top. So you never see other nations being regarded to as a sheep. So yeah, Christ is very so much literally speaking, do not go to Gentiles, go to the Israelites, teach the Israelites, right? So that's what the Bible says.
Yeah, but I feel like it's kind of hard because like you don't
He wanted to go
you have to like
hit people first and then everybody else. Or is that what you guys saying, or like?
Well, can you show us where Christ said, go into the whole, like, because right here, what we were reading before the Great Commission, when he says that, right? He says, go teach them all things that I taught you. And some of the things that he taught them was Matthew 15 and 14. Matthew 15 and 14, and that Matthew 10 that we just read, where he said, don't go into the way of the Gentiles. So in Acts 2, when we see the Jews and everybody coming out of all heavens and all nations of the earth, they're all Jews, like literally through the flesh, coming to celebrate Pentecost, to celebrate the Passover. It says devout Jews of every nation, all men of every nation. So we know that the Jews were scattered into all nations. You got something like
Not so much as I think the understanding is what he's going to do is save his people in the last days. He shall save his people, and then they'll have their kingdom on earth. And all these other nations, remember the Lord said that his mountain will be set on top of all the other ones. So all these other little hills and mountains, which is just big governments and small governments, are going to be subservient to his people. So and obviously to the Most High God.
Right, because every knee shall bow to Yahushua, who is an Israelite, right? We're going to have the 12 disciples judging everybody. We're going to have the law of God, which is the decree of God. So you're going to be following what people will call Judaism loosely, right? In the kingdom of heaven and the eternal order, right? And then you're going to have this people being above all nations.
As the scripture says, the leaves shall be for the healing of the nations. So they're not a part of that truth, like they're like taking refuge under that tree. Because remember, the Lord alone shall be, shall stand in that day. So all these anybody that isn't hearkening on to his plan, to what he's got going on, they get the rod of iron. The Lord.
That's the promise of Christ in Revelation 2:26.
He's not playing about that.
Because wouldn't you pray for the whole world if you came for the whole world? So why in John 17:6 Christ says, I pray not for the whole world, but I pray for them.
And he that is a friend to the world is
an enemy with God.
Isn't there a passage where Jesus talks about wanting his father's house to be built, starting with the Gentiles and then moving outward?
So you're talking about the wedding? I think you're talking about the wedding here.
Like, there's two parables on that.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's Gentile. It don't say Gentile. It says something else. It don't say Gentile.
I don't remember saying that.
It don't say-
It says because others were the ones that were bidden weren't worthy.
Yup. And the ones that were invited were not worthy.
And that holds true to this day.
Yeah.
When I see brothers come down here, and I try to beseech them, some of them would just scoff and say, "Oh, I'm good, brother," or and straight up deny God, man. It just happened today. What, two brothers back to back, and so they were bidden, they weren't worthy. Say we call others,
So you don't think Jesus came for everybody?
Not in the sense that that the promises to the Israelites are the same promises or the same things that Gentiles will receive. They will receive healing. They won't have these diseases and things like that upon them anymore. Things like that. There shouldn't be any more. As they dealing with poverty, homelessness out here, rapes and murders and stuff like that goes on in the world. None of that's that's going to be done away with. So they'll have that measure of protection as well. But when it comes to being a nation, kings and princes, that's given to Israel.
I got a verse for you. So you watch Passion of the Christ and how Caiaphas was evil. All right, let's read what Caiaphas got to say, right? Let's see if the Passion of the Christ depicts Caiaphas right? So this is the book of John, chapter 11, and verse 49. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing. Yeah, he's rebuking the whole council. I'll start over a little bit.
So, do you have a Bible?
No.
You have one at home?